I never watched the storyline in Pornography. Hi, welcome to Your Thoughts Podcast with Jesse Martinez.
And Tyler Beck.
And we have Ryan again.
Hey, it's part two, motherfuckers.
It's part two, motherfuckers. What's going on, Rai?
Not much, man.
Yeah,
how's it going?
It's been, like a month since you've been here?
I think it actually has. It's been a while.
Well, welcome back to the couch.
Oh, the casting couch.
Yeah.
It's not leather.
It's not leather.
And we're not in
ASU. It doesn't stick your
ASU.
skin like leather would if you were on the casting couch.
But this will still be an intimate experience.
Oh.
Yes, it will be intimate. We're going to talk about stuff Ryan wants to talk about.
Yeah,
His-
and we
his
can bounce.
thoughts.
We can bounce off things.
So
to each
Ryan brought a couple of things today.
other. I did. I brought my scriptures because I'm a good non-believer boy.
He brought his scriptures to do what I assume is
I'm gonna
shit all
preach to
over
you
them.
guys. So get your pillows out. We're going to sleep.
All right, this is a segment we call Ryan Wants to Shit on the Bible.
No,
He's going to educate us first, and then we'll shit
And then
on
shit
it.
on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
we'll have a shit on discussion.
Yeah. I'm gonna strive for being less scatterbrained this podcast because after re-listening to last
It's a
one,
lot.
I was incoherent as fuck. I might as well just been doing acid right beforehand.
That was probably Jesse's fault.
I tend to banter.
No, that's good. It's okay though. But this time I'm gonna try to straight line this shit.
Actually, you know what? I'm not in this podcast this time. You guys do what you need to do.
No, it's not a podcast without Jesse.
No, I'll just go somewhere else.
It'd be really boring if it was just us talking.
We'd get way
You'd
too
be-
serious.
Yeah.
It'd be like politicians having a podcast.
So tell me more about this.
Well, you see.
Here's the thing about that. Straightforward. Too dry. Too cut and dry. You
Yeah,
need some,
no,
you
fuck
need
that.
some
We
comedy
need
effect.
some forks.
We
in
need
there.
Dutch Brothers. Please drink. Dutch Brothers sponsor us.
Back from the edit.
All right. What's the Bible for?
Oh, I'm gonna hit you with it until you reconvert.
Sorry.
Reconvert?
Were you
don't
not?
know me? Yeah, I was raised Christian. Yeah.
Well, I also have the Book
They
of Mormon
tried.
here just in case. If
That's
you,
a heavier one. I hear that's a little heftier.
It's actually ridiculous.
Yeah.
As we were talking last time, call back.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't read the Book of Mormon, it's an easy read. I highly recommend it.
My girlfriend read it twice.
I've read it like 4 times
Yeah.
because it's just so stupid.
It's, I can't believe it. I got to read it a second time just to make sure I read what I read correctly.
Yeah, so basically, since the last time I came here, I've had a chance to meet with my wife's family, who is active Mormon. My wife is ex-Mormon. She is an atheist as well as I am.
Ex-Mormon sounds like superhero. Ex-Mormon! Hit him with the book. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, I had a chance to meet with my wife's family, and they brought over some missionaries. So every now and again, it's not the first time I've spoken with missionaries.
I actually like talking to missionaries.
I encourage everyone to talk with missionaries.
I do as well.
Because it's probably the only time they're going to be able to hear an opposing view, and they're just going to be in their echo chamber
Yeah.
throughout their whole mission. So I encourage everyone to, even just for a brief second, ask them something.
Seriously, just make them not want to do what they do.
Be
Well,
nice
what
to
people
them.
don't realize
No
is
one
when
wants
you
to
ask
talk to
somebody a
us.
question like that and it challenges their belief system, that sticks.
Yeah, no,
They
using the Socratic
they keep
method.
thinking about it.
Yeah, that's what we were doing. There's a book
Or
that
they
I need to
completely
read.
ignore it.
Or they just shove it to the back of their mind like, no, it's true. No, there's a book that I need to read. It's A Manual for Creating Atheists by Peter Boghossian. He's just employing the Socratic method in order to ask questions, to make people review their own beliefs and talk about it. I've heard it's a great method. There's a guy that does a series on YouTube called Street Epistemology, to where he just kind of asks people what they believe and why. That's what I like to do as well, especially for the religious and whatnot, because I've read the source material, or at least a very good portion of source material, so they can't say I haven't read it, except for the parts that I haven't, of course, but
Yeah.
don't get pedantic on me.
Don't do it.
I'm getting there. The Bible is a boring
Barble?
book.
The Barble.
The Burble.
A burb.
Read
The
the
Bible.
Barble.
But, yeah, so just asking them questions on why they believe it, because I've read it. I'm assuming they've read it. But I have a different view on why these things are versus theirs. So even just this last meeting with the missionaries, it was brief. We only had about an hour. We were talking about outer darkness and how you get there. Because in Mormonism, there's not a hell per se.
There are 3 layers of heaven and 3 layers of hell.
There's 3 layers of heaven. There's no hell.
It's like a purgatory. Oh, they call it the outer darkness.
You
right?
have outer darkness, which is basically saved for Satan and his followers. And then you also have the spirit prison, which is after you die and you aren't a Mormon, you haven't basically lived through the life and whatnot.
You get a chance.
You get a chance. They'll teach you about it all. And
I know the next one. The next one. It's the lesser of the 3, I guess. And you basically just deal with all the hardships that you dealt with in life, but they never go away. That's like the whole idea. Tell me
I'm not too sure about that actually.
That was a missionary thing.
It's 1,000 years of repentance basically. You have your missionaries, they teach you what you need to do. Hey, you did this wrong, whatnot. You have to repent for it. This is also calling back before that I'm not a biblical scholar. So
a little one.
If I am wrong about something, please feel free to call it out.
after he can't hear you call it out.
Exactly. So all those that are
Win-win.
typing comments right now, go fuck yourself. No. But no, you have that 1,000 years where you're supposed to repent and everything like that.
There's actually a reference to the 3 levels of heaven in 2 Corinthians 12 something 2.
Yeah, there's references from it to the Old or the New Testament. It is one of those kind of beliefs. Mormonism has the benefit because, well, at least in my view, you created by an 18th century con man or 19th century con man. So the
con man we have today.
I don't know. Trump is a pretty good con man.
He's not as good as I just made everybody believe what I just said. Good.
Yeah, he's not a
That's pretty
prophet.
good.
I mean, Joseph Smith at least is like, yeah, no, that's a thing. And if you don't believe me, you're gonna get struck by an angel.
His people.
I'll make you disappear.
Yeah, no, there is several writings throughout the Bible. They have the benefit of being retroactively able to deal with all the problems throughout the Bible and religious beliefs. So they already have the thousands of years or hundreds of years of kind of the apologetics to kind of work off of. I mean, you have like the works of, I can't even remember the apologists throughout time right now, but
what is it?
Just Christian apologists throughout history. I can't remember any of their names, but
All right, well, this
they have the
podcast is ruined.
But yeah, you have that down through the ages. People arguing like, is it really hell? Because there's really not a hard definition of hell throughout the Bible. So it really comes from the Apocalypse of Peter, which is an apocryphal writing that didn't make it into the Bible. And also you have imaging from Dante's Inferno, which the source material was the Apocalypse of Peter.
So there's other versions of what should have been in the Bible but didn't make it.
So, yeah, this is also a great topic.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people really, especially the heavily religious, don't really know that the Bible isn't a set book where they started and finished it in one go. It's a compilation of books, both Old and New Testaments. There are also several books that aren't in the Bible. With your Protestant Bible, you have 66 books of like 40 something in the Old Testament and 20 something in the New Testament. And it's different for Catholics. Catholics, I want to say, have like 72 books, something like that. I can't remember. I'm not too into the Catholicism. It's not too relevant out here.
No.
But yeah, no, go ahead.
An answer to the lost books of the Bible on allaboutjesuschrist.org is, to begin with, there are no lost books of the Bible. These so-called lost books were known by the Jews in the Old Testament times, as well as by Christians of the New Testament era, but they were not considered inspired scripture. Therefore, they were not included in the Bible.
Interesting. I feel like it might be a biased source.
There's a whole
It's
larger
called
explanation.
allaboutjesus.com. You don't think that's a little bit biased by any means? Are you fucking serious?
I just thought it was funny.
It's hilarious. That's funny as fuck.
A lot of people think that the Bible was actually compiled at the Council of Nicaea. That's not true. That is the writing of whoever made the Da Vinci Code or something like that.
Oh, it's a rouge.
Yeah, it's a false narrative. It's that's not true. The Council of Nicaea was on the divinity of Christ. It had nothing to do with the Bible compilation. Scholars aren't really sure when there was a, these books are good, these books we don't really use. They're not 100%.
How did they pick and choose?
I don't know.
Did everybody just read this and go, boring? It's a shit read. Somebody get this out of the Bible. You know?
I mean, because like I said, the Apocalypse of Peter, that's an apocryphal book. It wasn't put into the Bible here.
Wow.
Tyler, you have something to say over there?
If anybody's interested in what the First Council of Nicaea is, the First Council of Nicaea was a council of Christian bishops convened in the Bithynian city of Nicaea in Turkey by the Roman Emperor Constantine.
Mm-hmm. Who we talked about in the first podcast is credited for turning Rome Christian, but there is evidence that it was going to turn out Christian anyway. But go ahead.
Right.
That's it.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's it.
that-
Okay. All right. Full stop.
It's very distinct on when he's going to stop talking.
Okay.
Well, what I'm looking up is I'm trying to find sources for what you're
Exactly.
saying. So,
Which is good. We need sources.
We
for,
do.
but I don't know
Yeah.
when to actually interject
We
it
should be
back in.
outsourcing.
We should
We
outsource.
outsource all of our...
Well,
information.
China is already full of atheists, so we could do this very
Isn't that cool?
easily.
The most spiritual place in the world, full of atheists.
But yeah, there's so like I was saying,
Can I feel that Bible?
you
Can I
can.
feel that? I haven't held the Bible since I was a
Don't burn.
little
Don't
ass.
burn. I have yet to go in and through and put my whole pen marks through it.
This
but-
is the King James version.
correct. Yes,
He
the
handwrote
Mormons.
this one.
The Mormons only hold to the King James version of the Bible.
So, oh, really?
Yeah, that's the
How many
specific
versions
one.
of the Bible are there?
That's a great question.
So you have the Mormon
You
Bible.
have the Gideon Bible, you have the King James Bible, you have the
Right.
New International Standard Bible. I think there's quite a few. I don't even know how many
you
versions
prefer
are.
hardcover or soft copy?
Always hard.
Yeah, I like it hard too. Tyler, hard or soft with your Bible?
Probably hard as well.
It's just,
My Book of Mormon is quite soft here.
I think God
been a while
himself
since
would
I've
enjoy a good
touched
hard
the
copy of
Bible.
this. I really do. He's a classy man. That God.
Is he though?
No.
Uh,
Let's see. If God exists, there's no.
On,
God was
on
one of
Quora,
us.
If God exists,
on the website Quora,
that means he's just got a bunch of people in like a nook of the earth that he created just talking shit about him. And he knows about it. And he's just like, how insignificant is this conversation?
I mean, like we were talking about last time. Why does God allow things to be done in the name of other gods?
Oh, this is something that has no merit to this conversation or any backing, but I guess in the Bible, there's at least once where God refers to and acknowledges other Egyptian gods.
Oh yeah, I commented on a post on that this
That was
morning.
you.
Actually.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
There's
no,
a little
no.
merit there.
God acknowledges the existence of other gods several times throughout the Old Testament. He's always angry at the Hebrews for wanting to worship other gods and quote unquote false gods, and which is almost kind of an acknowledgement to what he must have done for them. Had it happened, must have not been that great if they keep wanting to worship other gods. It's like, hey, I brought you out of Egypt. Oh shit, there's a golden calf. Let's go worship that.
Egypt, we liked it there. Get out of here. That God's got gold over there. Let's get over there. That God's better.
Build a
They're
wall.
from Boston. All the Hebrews are from Boston.
Well, I mean, there
That
are a lot of
idiot.
Hebrews in Boston now.
This God's got baked beans and Dunkin' Donuts.
so in reference to how many Bibles there are, how many different versions, there's one Bible.
Oh, let me guess. That's according to the source right here.
I
It's the
actually,
inspired word of God.
that was the first thing I found on Quora.
Oh, okay. Yeah. There's no such thing as multiple versions except for this version, which is ours, and all the other ones are wrong, I'm assuming.
Outside of this podcast, you are wrong.
Oh,
That's all there
It's
is
very
to it.
difficult to actually find a quantifiable number on a reliable source, though.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
would
lot of
assume
different
so.
people saying there's different books of the Bible, so that counts as different versions.
Right, yeah. Like I was talking about, you have the Protestant Bible, 66 books, and then the Catholic Bibles, which is like 70-something, I want to say.
That's so many, though. My God.
Yeah, it's
And then there's like a whole list of different
Fake Bibles.
fake Bibles.
Different versions.
The Satanic Bible.
It's also in a bunch of different languages.
It is, yeah. Yeah, no, it is.
Everybody's got to be able to read it.
Yeah. Well, that was a big thing, which launched off the
Don't watch me
Protestant
do
movement.
this. Setting up. Get out of here.
No fourth
Pan.
wall. No
Thank
fourth
you.
wall. Stop breaking it.
No, I love it. Okay, so specifically, what did you want to talk about in the Bible?
Jeez, I mean, like, we can go to the Ezekiel quote where it's like lusting after men the size of donkey
Let's
penis.
talk about
No,
shit. Let's talk about shit right now that is just fucking stupid. Like that. You should be able to lust after a donkey penis. That's your God-given right. I don't
Jesse
think
Martinez.
he created dicks on donkeys, and he was like, "Yeah, don't touch that." Man,
Well,
that's
okay,
fucked.
that actually reminds me of in the Old Testament when God is creating all the animals for Adam to start naming. He's like, all right, so now it's time for me to find him a helpmeet, which is basically a partner. So he's like, all right, so I gave him all these animals, and he's not choosing any of these animals. And God's like, what the fuck, bro? Why aren't you fucking
Fuck
that sheep
something.
over there?
Fuck something, anything.
And then Adam's like, none of this gets my dick hard, bro. And he's
He
like,
wants him-
oh, okay, here, let me roofie you real quick. I'll take your rib, and then I'll make one like you, but with a vagina.
Oh yeah, so it was actually self-centered. He was like, none of them look like me. I want to fuck me. Where can I get me? And then God was like, I'll make you better. And
It's just
then
funny reading,
tits.
though, how often God is confused or isn't right about something throughout the Bible. And that's just one of those instances. He's like, Adam, what the fuck are you doing? Fuck that sheep.
He wanted bestiality was the original form of let's get this done. Repopulate, have some sheep humans. That's pretty cool.
In case anybody takes the wrong message out of this, bestiality is legal in 45 states.
That's pretty cool. Get in, get
It's
on there,
illegal.
man.
Illegal. I meant illegal.
Oh, illegal.
Okay.
Really?
Was that a
Okay, now
Freudian
take that
slip?
soundbite and say, just cut that that part.
Tyler had a
this to
Freudian
your
slip
pleasure.
there.
A Freudian.
He wants to bang a goat. Or sorry.
I want to bang a goat. Honestly, dude. I don't want to bang a goat.
Oh,
I have to
Jesse
say that
can
for
never
legal
run for public
purposes.
office now.
I have like 4 or 5 goats that I have.
That soundbite will
I
haunt
can't
me.
go within 500 feet of any goat in the area. It's true.
Just any of the farms,
Yeah, any of the farms.
as
yeah.
well as the preschools.
That's right. Goat preschools. Come on, I'm not a fucking weirdo.
They're called nurseries.
Excuse me. Yes, goat nurseries.
But yeah, there was harkening back to my conversation with the Mormon missionaries. That was one thing that I wanted to bring up to them, because in the Book of Mormon, it is Mormon chapter 9. It specifically addresses non-believers. So our first conversation we had,
It's about apostates.
no, with the missionaries.
Yeah, I
not-
don't think
oh,
this was
no,
talking
okay.
about prostates.
unless
Come on.
prostates.
Hi, have you heard about prostates? Like, cool.
Go on.
You see, if you stick your finger, right?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a Mormon thing. You should try it. That's why we have so many kids.
But our first conversation, afterwards, I asked them to do some homework. I wanted them to read Mormon chapter 9. They didn't, which made me a little upset.
Really?
They didn't do the homework I assigned them.
Damn.
I was quite disappointed.
Which is really funny because they're arguing in favor of their belief.
Yeah. I was like, hey, this book in the Bible. It specifically addresses non-believers. It calls out people that are deists. You know, like, yeah, something created the universe, but it's gone now.
Did you say deist or theist?
deists with a D,
Okay.
like dick.
Dick. D for dick. Gracias, Brandy.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Was that?
That
10
was
minutes.
10 minutes.
Oh, that was 10 minutes.
Yeah.
This was just 10
No,
minutes.
no. No, she's not just counting out for us.
Just counting down.
No, we have to pan, or we have to stop everything, restart. It's a lot. Don't worry about it.
We're getting meta again.
Continue.
We're getting meta. Talking about the
It's a
technical
process.
aspects.
So yeah, they didn't do their homework, but it addressed non-believers, deists, and believers of other gods and whatnot. So I wanted them to kind of read it and kind of give me their view on it. What does it actually mean? So since they didn't do it, we kind of had to read through it as we were there. But we only got stuck on 2 points, which was why is there references to hell in the Book of Mormon if they're supposed to be ancient Jews? I'm not sure if you guys know this either, but there is no hell in Judaism.
No.
There's no afterlife in Judaism.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, all there is references to Sheol, which is then later translated into Hades, which is then translated into hell. But that's not what Jews believe. Jews do not believe in a hell.
How do you spell Sheol?
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 Sheol, I think.
Yeah, that's correct.
Everybody knows Hades. That was kind of like the Greek afterlife.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Or
the
Greek
Greeks
really-
wrote the New Testament,
Yeah.
so.
Okay, which really just wasn't even that bad compared to like your soul burning forever.
Sheol
which
is
what we
a-
believe in now.
Sheol? Sheol?
Yeah, Sheol.
Sheol. Sheol.
Sheol.
Shal.
Shalom.
Shalom.
It's a place
It all
of
translates.
darkness.
We're getting some.
A place of darkness to which all the dead go, both the righteous and the unrighteous. Regardless of the moral choices made in life, a place of stillness and darkness cut off from the life and from God. Why would you go there if you die?
I don't know. It's just, yeah, but there's
So
no.
wait, hold on. So it says cut off from God.
Yeah.
Good or bad?
I mean, like,
if you die,
I would not want to be with God. Every reference to heaven in the Bible is always constantly praising God.
yeah, that's just and
Singing
you
his
said that last
praises.
podcast too.
It's,
just like, who
it
wants
doesn't
to
sound
do
like
that
fun.
constantly?
Not only that, but an infinity of anything sounds torturous at one point.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter how
An
long it
infinity
takes.
of blowjobs.
He's gonna
Every now
get-
and again, you're gonna get a toothy one, and it's gonna get irritating.
Eventually, it's gonna get boring.
Right.
Your
It
skin
doesn't
is
matter.
just going to fall off from all of the...
Then you're gonna start fucking eye
liquid.
holes. It sounds morbid, but once you get bored, you just start trying to find ways to entertain yourself. And if you get constant head, you're probably gonna start fucking other holes on that head. That's all I'm saying.
Jesse needs to write his own version of the Bible.
Yes, I do. Nobody would buy it.
But yeah,
The
I was
Book of
asking them
Jesse.
because in Judaism they don't believe in hell. Their afterlife is referenced, but Jews don't really hold to it. It's once the Messiah comes back, everyone gets resurrected. That's technically the afterlife. But it's interesting that if there's ancient Jews that are supposed to be the writers of the Bible, why do they reference hell so often if it's not a concept within Judaism? And they, of course, didn't even know about it.
Maybe they weren't Jews.
Wait, were these Mormon missionaries
Mormon missionaries? Yes.
talking about Judaism?
Well, because like I said,
Because it's within the Book of Mormon?
yeah. So Mormons or Latter-day Saints are supposed to be one of the lost tribes of Israel. They are Jews. They came over from the old world on a boat.
Is that just to
Most people come
claim
from
that
the
they're
old
the
world on a boat.
favored people
Yeah.
of God?
It's true.
Sorry, say that again.
Is that just so that they can claim they're the favored people of God?
I'm not sure if that's the exact reason.
Sounds right.
I'm not sure about that.
So are they called Israelites?
They are children of Zion and I think
God, that
Israel.
sounds stupid.
It is pretty stupid. If
God,
you read,
children of Zion.
yeah,
It sounds like a mythical tale, really.
it does. It does.
It's like the fucking Lord of the Rings is the Bible.
Middle Earth and Judaism.
10,000 years.
But yeah, they didn't know. They were shocked to find out that Jews don't believe in a hell, and they didn't really have an answer for me on if they are Jews, why are they referencing hell? Because Jews are like, hell, that's bubkis.
That's bubkis. Bubby.
Sorry if that was
There's
a little,
nothing shalom about hell.
that was a little racially insensitive.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
kidding. Jews are not a race; it's a religion. So fuck off.
Yeah, dude, I got this kid at work. Still on topic. I got this kid at work that claims to be Jewish, and I said, "Are you Jewish?" That doesn't make any sense. He said, "Yeah, my mom's Jewish, so I'm Jewish." It's
That
like,
is how it works.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's not. It's a religion, though.
A lot
is
of
a religion,
a lot
yeah,
of
you can-
comedians
It's
make
not-
fun of it
It's not
because
a culture. It's what you believe in.
It used to
called
be a
Jew-
people.
To be called Jew is to believe in Judaism. Is
Yeah.
to believe in what they believe in. Other than that, you just have Jewish parents.
Yeah. No.
But they really cling on to the fact that it's a culture instead of a religion.
Yeah,
But
it's a religion
just
now.
'cause your
If you
hair
can
is
convert
curly-
into it, it's no longer a people.
Yeah.
It's you've given up that right. If you are no longer divine birth of right,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. It's
But to each their Jewish own. That's all I have to say about it. So
but yeah, they didn't have an answer on that. They were shocked a little.
yeah,
bit
that's
to
all
know.
very odd. Because no. One thing that. Shut up, guys.
Okay.
One thing.
Jesse's got to think, guys. Jesse's got to
One
think.
thing that confused me about what they just said is when you go to Hades, what do you call that?
Well, it's Sheol.
Sheol. Okay. you separate from God entirely. So basically, in that, you only are with God when you're alive. Once you die, he's just like, nah, I don't care anymore.
I mean, I guess that's
kind of
one
what I
way.
got out of it.
Yeah, that's one way you can kind of.
Is it wrong to interpret
But
their meaning of God as just life itself, and then Sheol is just no life?
Given the commandments within Judaism, I would have to disagree.
but that what doesn't make sense.
I don't know
is
enough about Judaism.
Now we believe in God. Most people believe in God because of the fear of death. It's what every religion has in common, is that nobody wants to die and nobody wants nothing to happen after you die. But if that's
I do.
what yeah, well, we do, but most people don't. That's why they want a God. That's why they need an afterlife. Everything has an afterlife. But if that's what it says in the scriptures itself, then it's just bullshit. Well, it's all it is just bullshit. But even reading that and then still like, God's the afterlife. He is that. That's just, I don't even know what the word for it is. Stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah, I mean,
It's
I wouldn't.
It's just
I
you're
wouldn't
so
want it.
scared.
I wouldn't want it, that's for sure. But the other topic that we got to, again, we only had an hour. It took me a while just to pin them down to that subject. Unfortunately, when you do talk to missionaries, this is a little warning for everyone, is that they're going to try to make it into a lesson. They're going to basically read off a script. Try not to let them do that. As for their personal opinions, it might be difficult for them to do because they're supposed to be spreading the word.
They're
and
also
positive
told
life.
not to do that.
Yeah, you were saying last time, you're like, I'm a Satanist. And I'm like, okay, bye.
Well, yeah, well, they're trained. This is from my Mormon girlfriend who has missionaries in the family. One just came from South America. I was there. I didn't know her. I was just anyway. She went and she was saying that a lot of when you're a missionary and people tell you that they are atheist or Satanist, they're told before they go out that they need to not talk to those people because they will sway the faith. You know, they're out there to be spreading the word, spreading the word, not to be taught of other faith or lack thereof. So they just don't talk to you.
Yeah, so I'm wondering how long these missionaries are going to continue to communicate with me until eventually they're going to be told not to. One of them is at the end of their mission, so I'm just going to kind of see what happens with that. Fun fact, he's also a person of color who is also a Mormon.
Yeah.
So we'll eventually maybe have enough time to get into the priesthood with black people with Mormonism.
Okay, we're going to take a quick break. I've been told that we do this now. Stay tuned. There
Glory
might be a
hole.
commercial here one day. That'd be cool, right? Buy toothpaste.
And we're live.
And we're live. I said it. You guys didn't say it. I said it.
Well, that's because he's just
Welcome back to Your Thoughts Podcast. Again, one of these times when we're rich and famous, there's going to be commercials here for you guys to buy stuff from other people. That is not the time now.
Yeah, right now we're poor.
We're just poor and also
Please sponsor us.
fidgeting with film. So these are the things
And
we have
fidget
to
spinners.
do. We're here with Ryan still. Hasn't changed.
Fidget cubes.
That's still the person we're talking to.
Hi.
Hey. Again.
It's been 5 years. You guys don't know this, but it's actually going to be released.
We took a really long hiatus from doing this. I had a kid. He's 5 years old now. Me and my wife separated. I'm gay now. Talk about that. Love
Me too.
wieners with Tyler.
Yeah.
Brandy's not our film. She's not filming for us anymore. It's Bobby.
Say hi, Bobby.
He's our intern.
Because we're paid now.
We're paid. We have a paid
Well, the intern's
intern.
not.
He makes $45,000 a year moving a camera around. Isn't that cool? We're rich. Okay.
All right, let's jump back in.
There's another thing other than that you wanted to talk about. In
Yeah.
The Bible.
Oh, it's Book of Mormon and Bible.
Excuse me.
Get it right.
They're both open right now,
They are
which
both
I'm
open.
sure God is like, what's going on? He's very confused.
He's conflicted.
He's very confused.
Are both those Bibles opened at the same time together? I don't like
could
what's
put 'em
going
inside
on.
each other.
Oh, I bet that's never happened before. Do it. You won't.
Creating a seal of spiritual energy that these
Kamehameha
Christians
wave.
Ladies and
Can't
gentlemen, for the
even
first time on live film, the Bible inside of the Book of Mormon.
I guess that's going to be a little bit more difficult. Anyway, so the next topic I brought up to them, it was kind of within the same vein of things that are in the Book of Mormon that aren't necessarily in the Bible, which was the original ending of Mark's Gospel. The original ending of Mark's Gospel, the earliest copies that we have, were for about around the 300s CE. And it actually ends at Mark 16, chapter 8. And the last sentence, if you guys have read the Bible, I'm not going to read the whole fucking
Don't fucking
book
do that.
here.
No.
Just go read it for yourself.
I had my 8 hours of sleep. Okay.
But the very last verse basically ends with the women who went to the tomb. There was a man inside, and they basically ran away, and they didn't tell anyone anything. So
so nobody really knows.
they shouldn't have known. Jesus was gone out of the tomb. There was a different man there, and they ran away scared, and they were supposed to not say anything. That's what it says in the last part.
That's actually what it says.
Yeah, and they went out quickly and fled from the sepulchre, for they trembled and were amazed. Neither they said anything to any man, for they were afraid.
Wow.
But then it goes on to say, because this part is added on later, that they went out and told a bunch of people. So that's obviously contradictory.
Hey, you know that thing we weren't supposed to tell anybody because of all the scaredness?
We went out and told
We
everyone
wouldn't
anyway.
have told everyone.
So you can actually look that up. It's the original ending of Mark if you want to do your own research. That is the original ending in our earliest copies. Afterward, it has, which is supposed to be edited or added in later copies. It has the almost verbatim same copy in the Book of Mormon, which is in Mormon 9, the chapter that we were talking about earlier.
Sure.
And it was, they shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover, which is Mark 16, verse 18. In the Book of Mormon,
In it.
Not on it.
yeah, there's a Book of Mormon within the Book of Mormon, by the way. Fun fact.
Really?
Yeah, no, there is.
Jesus.
Joseph
Talk
Smith
about
was
redundant.
not a very creative man.
No. And also, they killed him.
So in the Book of Mormon, they did. They shot the shit out of him.
They killed
Wait,
the
Mormons
fuck
did?
out of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah.
it was...
I'm looking that up.
Really? You don't know about the
Um,
Joseph Smith thing? I thought they hung him. I didn't know they shot him.
No, they shot him. It was a mob out of the jail. What was it called? But yeah, no, he tried jumping from the window, and they lit his ass up on the way down. And yeah, he was shot like 3 times.
That's good.
He was also shooting other people. He wounded 2 men. It's said that some sources say that they died. They actually didn't because they went to testify in court later on. But yeah, he shot 2 men, and he himself was shot dead. But as Tyler's researching that, I'm going to go ahead and continue reading.
Please. Yeah.
So this is in Mormon 9. Verse 24, just like a little bit in. So it says, they shall cast out devils, they shall speak with new tongues, they shall take up serpents, and if they drink any deadly thing, it shall not hurt them. They shall lay hands on the sick, and they shall recover. So part of that is
verbatim.
almost
Yeah,
verbatim.
Yeah.
So I asked them, okay, so this is in the Book of Mormon. This is in the Bible. But biblical scholars know that this was added in after the fact by someone else, not the original authors.
Wow.
So obviously, if you were a con man who didn't have the sources for biblical scholarship at that time and you just saw that in the Bible, again, verbatim, put it in the book, you would have just thought that was a real thing.
Yeah.
But now in hindsight, we actually see that no, that's actually a falsification, and that same falsification is in the Book of Mormon.
And also, during all that, you said but. So that's cool, too.
Jesse's really into butt stuff. We've
I love
established
that. Stuff.
that.
Yeah.
He very much is.
Yeah, that's interesting as fuck.
Yeah, so at that point, they were both pretty shocked. They didn't have an answer, of course. One of them was a little shooken up to the point where he's like, he kind of asks, like, why do you do this? He's like,
Why are you doing this to us? Stop it!
like, I was kind of breaking him down a little bit. I felt a little bit bad. It wasn't as bad as one conversation I had with a new missionary that came out, and his eyes was,
God.
yeah, it was his first week, and he was talking to me. His eyes,
shaky, like,
no, his eyes kept growing to the size of saucers every single time I spoke.
Have
but
people like negatively reacted to you talking to them about their faith? I would
In-
assume that does happen.
on online conversations, Absolutely.
but not as much in person.
In person, people are more personable.
Especially the missionaries, because their whole job is to
They're
educate.
supposed to be nice. They have to be nice.
Their thing is like spread the word, help. Like they want people to feel comfortable in the conversation. They kind of ease into it. They don't necessarily force it on you. If you engage, they'll engage.
Well, it's easier to interpret things as militant online as opposed to just conversing, but you're still challenging their beliefs, so do they react negatively?
Well, Mormons and Christians react differently to the challenging of their faith. Mormons tend to take it a little bit easier than
But
Christians.
you're coming from a place of like trying to understand as well, so
Yeah.
I feel
Yeah.
like that would change the situation.
That's what they kind of took it as, because my view is, okay, you say that this is real. The problem is that if it is real, there are obvious problems in it. I'm going to show you what these problems are, and I want to see how you rectify that.
That's an interesting approach.
So, because they say, one thing Mormons will say is that I believe the Book of Mormon is true. They'll even go as far to say that I know it's true.
The same thing with the Christian Bible. There are billboards and people saying the
Yeah.
Word of God is the truth.
Yeah.
Well, check this
The
out.
only truth.
Yeah.
I was talking to missionaries, and I had a question just for general religion in general, but the fact that I was talking to missionaries, I wanted their view on it. Animals, right? Kind of off topic, but not really.
Keep going.
It kind of ties into the fact that they just sort of believe when there's nothing there, they make it up, and then it becomes fact. So
Hold on. What do you mean by nothing there?
when there's in any book, it doesn't say too much about where animals go. Because animals don't have souls like we do. So do they
Right.
go to hell? Do they go to heaven? Do they not go anywhere?
All dogs go to heaven.
Right. So one can hope. But so I asked them, I said, because I haven't read either of these to completion. And I asked them if anywhere in their book or any book does it say anything about where animals go. Because if God is real, God created the animals, why would he create them? And then just when they're destroyed, they don't go anywhere, but we do. It doesn't make a lot of sense because if
doesn't,
anything's pure, it's animals because they don't have moral standards. They do what they need to do to survive and then they die.
I disagree with that.
You think they have morals?
Well,
The
we
animals do?
have ability to show that animals do in fact have empathy for one another.
Sure.
They do care for each other.
Yeah.
Uh,
They care for us too. I know
yeah, they
that.
do. Yeah. Brain
But
scans on dogs just
I
show
just-
they're happy as fuck to see
I don't
us.
think they have the same moral standards
That I could
as we
agree
do.
with, I guess.
Because they're instinctual things, not like us where we have the ability to kind of distance ourselves from instinct and base everything off of moral.
we have capacity of self
Right.
and understanding.
Uh-huh.
They can empathize, but
Right.
not too much.
Exactly.
They can't debate.
Yeah, they can't. They don't. So it doesn't seem, for one, it doesn't seem fair that if heaven existed and hell existed, they wouldn't just automatically be able to go to heaven because they almost can't sin. They just do what
Yeah.
they need to do to live and survive, and then that's it. So I asked them. I said, "Does it say anything?" It doesn't say anything in the Bible, and if it does, it touches on nothing about where they go. So they're created by God, and then they die, and then to them, because it doesn't say anything, they don't go to heaven. Period. Dogs, animals, in general, if you're not a human being, you don't get to go to heaven. You're created to nourish us, and then that's it. And so they took it as fact that they just don't go to heaven because it's not in the Bible that they do. So when I say that they take factual things from things that aren't there, they're just making it up and calling it fact because there's nothing there. It's off the top of their head.
I
And
think
that's not how it's supposed
when
to be.
they're arguing in this sense, maybe they would say that, but when they're talking to children about things that die, they say go to heaven. I've heard a lot of people do that.
Yeah, of course, because it eases a child's mind.
Right. Well, death is a hard concept to grasp,
It
especially
is.
as a child.
It is.
Yeah, it is.
I think it's unfair.
Yeah.
I think I understand exactly why it happens, but when Louis is born and he starts asking about stuff like that, I'm going to be honest with him. It's going to be kind of a hard psychological thing to tell a child that when you die. I mean, my personal belief as a father is nothing happens. If you would like to find some other way to deal with that, please, by all means.
Yeah, you
I'm not
give
gonna
them
make you be
give
an
them
atheist.
area to
Right.
kind of figure it out.
Exactly. I'm not going to
themselves.
be like, son, you don't go anywhere when you die. It sucks, and then that's it.
I
And
think
that-
there's a pretty easy way to phrase it, though. You came from the earth, you went back to the earth.
Sure.
And that's what we can show
Yeah.
as evident too.
Yeah.
yeah.
Everything else is, kind of thought processes.
Subjective.
And, yeah,
it's
subjective.
100% to comfort.
Yeah.
Yes.
When it's phrasing, it's not it's what we believe, and then we transfer that because when somebody goes, "What happens when we die?" It's scary to go nothing, because kids have you can psychologically damage kids by just saying the word shoe over and over again in like certain specific case.
Yeah, you say shoe and you smack them.
Right, and then
Now
now
shoe is no.
they're afraid of fucking shoes. So to tell them that nothing happens when they
Don't
die,
hit your
it's a
kids,
scary
guys.
thing, because psychologically you don't know what they're going to do, and they don't know how to process that because it's weird.
Verbal abuse is still psychological abuse.
Yeah. So, I mean, phrase it correctly because you're talking to a child, but also don't lie, because you're scared of what they're going to happen. That's going to literally change from that second that you say something happens after you die. It changes their life entirely for the rest of it. Just in the 2 seconds it takes to say, you go to heaven. The rest of their life, they
There's
believe
a slight glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
Always.
Because you're
that something
afraid.
might
It's
happen.
selfish because you're afraid of what's going to come after that, and you have to comfort them through the rest of it, of their life. So it's just selfish to tell somebody, a child, wrong because you don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. Or you can just say, I don't know.
That's true too. You could say I don't know. You could. That's how I feel like I'm going to do it. I don't know personally for sure, but what I believe is that nothing.
Yeah.
And that's how I want it. But
Some
you can
people
go,
believe this. Some
Yeah,
people
exactly.
believe
There you go.
this. What I personally believe is this.
Yeah.
I
You can
wanna
say,
give
we
them
don't really
options.
know. Here's what people say. This is what I think.
This is what
People
science thinks.
don't do that though.
That's our internal
almost
biases.
never happens. See, I have 9 brothers and sisters. 3 of them are full-blown Christians. They go to church by themselves. They're in youth, and that was because their mother is Christian. And when they asked what happens and about it, she straight up said,
You go to heaven, you go to hell.
"Yeah." And end of story. It was end of story. You go to heaven, you go to hell. Period. And I don't want to hear another word about it. And so now that's just what they believe by themselves. They're not even being encouraged to do it anymore. It's just what they took up. They go to church. Their mom doesn't even go anymore. She's a drug addict. So it's true. But they just go by themselves. Oh, it's Sunday, Mom. I'm going to youth. Okay, goodbye. And that, for me, that's just kind of sad.
A lot of people are uncomfortable with the topic of death.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more conversation, and like actual conversation, not like, oh, you go to a farm upstate across the Rainbow Bridge and you're fine forever.
That sounds cool.
Let's help people create a model for that conversation.
Yeah.
How would you begin that?
To kind of humanize death, kind of not
To
necessarily
just start a
romanticize.
conversation outright with somebody about this concept. How do we do that? Because it does need to happen. It's
can't just be
a
like-
cultural taboo that we
Yeah.
avoid.
Yeah, it is. I mean, for myself as a non-believer, my own personal view is that funerals, when you go to funerals, it's not for the person. It's for the people.
Right.
Selfish.
That person's gone.
I think the framing of that could even be changed. Like the concept of mourning the loss of somebody should be a celebration of their life.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what it is. That's how I view it, at least.
I just had, in June, I had 4 people very close to me die.
Jeez.
In June, I had, one of them was not close. It was my mom's boyfriend at the time. I don't know. She was slaying dick to get money or whatever, and a couch to sleep on. But he died of a heroin overdose and then came back to life. And then he said, and this is perfect for our conversation, he was scared because when he died, and he actually died, nothing happened. And
Yeah.
he came back to life, and it literally shook him that after he died, nothing, and then he came back to life, and that's not what he expected because he was a religious man, thought heaven and hell existed. So he died, nothing happened, came back to life, told my mom, and now my mom doesn't want to believe that.
This is actually a great conversation as well, because I love when I talk to the religious people and they're like, oh, there's hundreds of thousands of people have died, and they said they went to heaven, they went to hell. Okay,
Like
cool.
near-death experience kind of
Yeah,
thing.
NDEs.
There's actually a
or,
scientific
yeah, there's a
reason for
scientific
that, though,
reasoning
yeah.
for it. Yeah, we've well established that. Of course, I
Your
don't
brain
believe that.
releases DMT.
Exactly.
Yeah,
you
there's
go
the
into
chemical in your
balls.
brain that makes you feel like you're coming out of your body
Uh-huh.
into this whole spiritual plane and
Yeah.
meeting God.
Yeah, so we have a
is
scientific
crazy.
explanation for it.
I would
We
love
have
to
a
experience
scientific.
that.
I know, right? We have a scientific explanation for a lot of things that the religious cling to. They just don't want to see it that way. Because they'll be like, oh, yeah, I went and I saw Jesus and he said he loved me and then I came back to life and now I have a mission. It's like, cool. Are you also going to acknowledge the hundreds of thousands of people that died and said, I didn't see anything?
Yeah, or the massive
picking and
amount of
choosing.
data that we have of people not even recounting the events that they hear, like when they're having an out of body experience, like when they're dying on like an operating table or whatever. there's a ton of
The studies where they put stuff in the room and they ask the people once they came back to life what
Right.
was in the room. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know those. Yeah, I
um
think Sam Harris talks about that.
there's like some whole conference on YouTube that I've seen where people are talking like anecdotal responses to this whole concept of NDE and out of body experiences. Like they experienced it, so that's their evidence.
Yeah, and it's personal evidence. It's
Yeah.
not objective.
It's anecdotal.
It's subjective.
Yeah.
And that's the problem.
So, 4 people. The second one died of a heart attack, 6 o'clock in the morning. That one was really close to me. His name was Larry. He was a family friend. And then Bree, who is one of our friends from high school. I dated her for a year. She died of a heroin overdose as well.
Oh no.
Yeah, a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, not too long ago. And then my aunt died in a head-on car collision with a youth group of 5 little girls and her driving. She was going about 90. It was from I think
geez.
it was from Payson to Arizona. They were coming back from a youth conference out there, and she's very religious.
Uh-huh.
And on her way back, there was a wrong way driver also
Oh,
going
no.
90, hit a head-on collision, which equals like
180 miles an hour.
180 miles
I mean,
an hour. It's
I'm
like
not.
as
I'm
if
no
you were-
physicist.
As if you were going 180 miles an hour. So the entire front, both drivers died. My aunt died,
Yeah.
and the other driver died. And
Did the kids die too? Or
No. The 5 girls in the back lived. When my aunt died, she died instantly. She broke every limb in her body, almost every single bone, because the car in
It
front
crumples.
of her came into her,
Yeah.
and she was almost like kind of formed into it. So
Yeah.
that's kind of crazy. My interpretation for death now, throughout my 22 years of life, I have never known somebody close to me to die, except for in June, the 4 people that died in a row. And so I never really understood how I would interpret death when it's literally like happens to someone close to me.
Yeah.
I didn't shed a tear. I was almost not even sad because I understand, and now I know this because it happened, I understand that people die.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand it very clearly that it is a part of life, and people can't accept that. It is just a part of life. Now, I loved all these people, except for the first one. I didn't know that guy. I never even met him.
Fucking dick.
I loved all of these people. Every one of them were very well, except for Bree too. But I loved her at one point, and I wish I loved 2 of the 4 people that.
Love
that
the exceptions
fucking
going on
died.
I
here.
know these people.
There's stars after every sentence.
Larry and my aunt. I loved them very much. Okay.
Okay, there we go. That
There
for
we
sure
go.
you can say.
Fuck the other 2. I don't care. But
I knew of these people.
I also know, and as an atheist, people kind of are weirded out by the fact that I don't mind death at all either, because I don't believe in anything. But honestly, it sounds so much better than spending an eternity in heaven, because you're just nothing. There's no fear, there's no sadness, there's no anger or even happiness. It's just nothing that you can't even acknowledge, because we can't fathom what that means.
Don't they actually talk about the feelings that you would feel in heaven? Like extreme bliss and euphoria or something?
To my knowledge,
How would you know that?
I don't know. I mean, to my knowledge, all that's
Good
ever.
question, Jesse.
You wanna do some autoerotic asphyxiation right now? We can kind of figure
If that's
that out.
what heaven feels like, sign me the fuck up.
I can give you LSD.
No.
Um,
Is that how autoerotic asphyxiation feels?
No,
Like you're
that's how
tripping
heaven
LSD?
feels.
Well, yeah, because that's basically what it is when you die.
no, to my knowledge, anything that's written about heaven or the afterlife is just constantly praising God. That's all I know. I mean, I think there is some talk of feeling of bliss. I'm not sure if that's actually within the scriptures. I'm not all the way through the Old or the New Testament yet. I know there's a lot of talks in the afterlife, probably in Paul's letters, I want to say, and then also in Revelations. But otherwise, I'm not aware.
I just have some reason for thinking that there was some mention of it being like some happy place.
When I
I
think
used to go to church, so
When I-
it's been a long time. But
Well,
There's a lot of
yeah.
things that people think that are in the Bible that's not in the Bible.
well,
it doesn't.
when
it
you go to
doesn't touch
church,
on-
you're hearing an interpretation of the Bible,
Yeah.
and then they're reading from the Bible. So
That's true.
it's
When I think of
Very
when you say that
mixed.
it's just praising, you die, you go to heaven, and you're just praising God. I just think like you come up there and you have like no legs past your knees, and like your spine doesn't bend except for like in a downwards dog position, and that's just
praise.
how you are, like just praising constantly, and it just sounds like hell in itself.
I mean, I wouldn't want an eternity of everything. I'll always say it
Yeah.
because that devalues
Now,
everything.
if I found the cure for living until I wanted to die, I'd live probably till about 250 years old.
Yeah,
like, in
there
all
comes a
honesty,
certain point where
yeah.
you're done.
Yeah. But you experience everything at that point, and you're like, all right, time to do nothing forever now. That sounds nice.
Yeah,
It does.
I would like to cease to exist one day. That's how I would like to go. Because I brought this up with the missionaries as well. if we do in fact live forever, that means that this current life is worthless. Because what makes worth? The limited quantity of it.
Right.
If there's an unlimited amount of something, it is worth less.
What bums me out is that, like, all the accomplishments that the four of us in this room are going to make, a lot of them are not going to be made aware to a lot of people until we die, which means we're not going to be able to bask in the things that we accomplished in life until we die. And that's just a hard concept for me to handle, because I'm never going to be able to see if I did something good for somebody in life at random and they feel all good about it and like they're talking to me, like, talking to people like, Jesse's this awesome guy. I'm never going to know that.
Yeah.
That's something I'm going to die, and then people are going to be like, Jesse was an awesome guy, but nobody fucking told me that while I was alive.
Jesse, I think you're an awesome guy. You're an awesome dude.
I relate.
You know?
He now knows that. He hasn't. Now we have to kill him.
Damn. Well, I knew, so
Grab the ox cord.
I think about death probably on a daily basis.
I wake
really.
up and go, oh, one day I'm going to die. Let's start this day.
Yeah, it's if you don't think about death, you are missing out on really, really deep motivation.
It makes you look like, I can't count how many times you look out and you just have that moment. You're like seeing a scenery and something like that, and you're like, I'm living right now.
Yeah.
No.
I have this opportunity, this privilege right now to experience this.
Perfect example.
You have a very limited time span every single day to do what you want with this life.
Perfect example. This morning, I woke up to have a cigarette.
Mm-hmm.
And I was sitting on my front porch.
You're going to die of cancer.
And, hey, you're probably right.
You want a death stick?
Hey, you want some cancer?
I was smoking a cig, and I was looking out on my front porch. I was taking a drag, and a wasp just starts floating by.
Fuck that.
And I had the sudden realization that at any moment today I could die. I'm not kidding. The wasp scared the shit out of me, and it just made me realize that I am not safe any time of any point of any existing time frame. You could die at any point.
The only
And
thing
for some
certain is
reason,
death.
A little wasp just like a freight train in my head, like I could die right now from this little wasp.
You fall off the third
And
story.
it was humbling. And I went throughout my day, and I know that.
And it almost seems ironic because when it comes to the religious, like, oh, you atheists have nothing to live for. It's like, no, we have everything to live for. We have nothing to
Die for.
really.
Yeah.
Well, that's not even true.
Well, no, we have
we
reasons
have
that
life
we can
to die for.
Yeah, but you know,
There's a reason to live.
They're like, oh, you guys are just gonna die and that's it. It's like, well, yeah, that means that everything counts right now. If I'm looking at this landscape and I have this moment, and then I also think I'm gonna be able to do this for eternity afterward, then what's the point? I might as well just die right now.
Bored of that landscape now.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a dragon in it now. I don't really care.
And the fear of this is really what it comes down to. But what we're afraid of is the same thing that we experience when we go to sleep. Nothing. We may dream. We may not even remember that dream. So
But you still go
we're
to
just
sleep.
going to sleep.
But
Yeah,
you still
that's
do
how
it.
I-
You're not waking up.
People are like, what happens?
That's it.
What do you think happens when you die? It's like, well, have you ever fallen asleep and then you woke up but you didn't realize you fell asleep?
This
Yeah,
this
that wake
amount
up
of
part
time
doesn't
has
happen.
passed.
Yeah, keep doing the sleepy part. Don't ever do the other part.
And
That's
that-
exactly what people tell you about when they have near-death experiences.
Mhm.
Something happened, and then I woke up, and I realized a lot of other things happened.
Mm-hmm. I don't find death scary. I find how you get dead scary.
Yeah, I would. There's a very large list of ways I would like to not die.
It's the biggest list that anybody could ever write, because the only way I want to die is in a bathtub with my wife at 86 years old with 2 pills of cyanide
And a toaster.
and a ton of heroin in my system. All right, guys, that's going to stop this episode. That's going to wrap it up for today.
This is a great tying knot point. Oh my god. Let's
I
break
hope
out
you
the belt.
I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast today. This was Your Thoughts Podcast with Jesse Martinez and
Tyler Beck.
this was Ryan talking about the religion.
Part 2.
As usual.
And we'll have him back soon for some other stuff. You
Part
guys
3,
enjoyed the rest
4,
of your
5.
week. Have a good day.
Try Smantle.